signal now for when I'm needed. But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning to them.
Yes, sir. Welcome to Beyond the Bat Signal. I am your host, Domenic. Join me as we dive into the depths of Batman's lore, dissecting the Rogues Gallery, and uncovering the stories of our iconic vigilante known as the Dark Knight. Beyond the Bat Signal is a very proud member of the Batman Podcast Network, hosted by Batman on Film. Check out the list of shows that they all have, and let me tell you, there's a ton. Now, with that being said, we are going to review part 1 of the finale of Batman issue number 163 of the H2SH saga. Just a big, huge spoiler warning because there are full spoilers ahead. So if you don't want to listen, I would go pick up the issue because it's great and come on back, or just listen. But I would highly recommend that you go pick up this issue, and because not one you want to miss. Let me tell you, quite a few surprises. I know this is a review that is a week late, but listen, better late than never. Let me tell you. So it did take me a while to I had to go back and read some of the previous issues. Now, before I even get into this, one thing that has to be said is there was an obvious delay with the H2 saga, and Jim Lee came out and he didn't have to do any of this, but if you go check his Instagram page, he did share a couple of insights into the health issues he was dealing with, and which led to the delays in Batman H2. And again, completely understandable and did not have to explain. I know that there was quite a bit of online chatter, and I've watched some podcasts talking about, and kind of almost up in arms, like, oh my God, it's delayed. And don't get me wrong, even for me, I was a little frustrated, but it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't the end of the world. I just desperately wanted to see the conclusion of part 1 of H2. And I think it's important to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially when it's someone like Jim Lee, an icon, a legend, and this guy puts so much detail and so much love into every single page that this man illustrates, and this issue is no different. We are still very blessed to get issues drawn by the great Jim Lee, who, for years we've been spoiled by an artist like this, and to this day in 2026 is no different, where we get Jim Lee illustrations, and damn am I lucky that I get to pick up an issue drawn by that man. And with that being said, let's get into this issue. And it picks up exactly where I left off, where you have a gun right at Joker's gun pointed right at Batman's face. And it is a turn that I didn't really expect, to be honest. I was ready for an all-out war or clash even with Batman and Joker. And can I just say, I really do like this new illustration of Joker in comparison to the original H2. I love the way Jim Lee's been drawing him, and it looks fantastic. And but anyway, the turn that I'm talking about is Joker is telling Batman, we're actually on your side, and it's not just Joker, it's the villains, the Rogues Gallery, and they're ready to take on Hush because based on what Poison Ivy said, Hush betrayed us all, promises were broken, and it involved everyone. So pretty interesting. And the one interesting fact is it's pretty much the villains against the Bat Family, where the Bat Family is trying to stop Batman. And it's kind of ironic. And to be honest, I love that little flip. It's not something that we typically see. Like, yes, we do see the villains versus the Bat Family, but this time Batman's on the opposite side. And here we have the Bat Family trying to slow Batman down. Now, on one of the pages here, we have like a nice little Easter egg of Amanda Wu Square. Kind of cool. But the Rogues has Croc, has Bane, Clayface, Joker, Two-Face, Scarecrow, Penguin, and Poison Ivy. And then you got the entire Bat Family with Damian Wayne, Nightwing, Batgirl, Catwoman, and Huntress. And you know, there's a little bit of back and forth between Batgirl and Catwoman, and Catwoman's pretty much trying to be that middle person, that voice of reason, where she's trying to talk everyone down and say, like, don't you forget, this guy's either been a father to you or is your father, and he would not let himself be cornered. And it's pretty interesting. So you have the Bat Family starting to take on Batman, and then all of a sudden Enigma just kind of drops a question where, when is Riddle, when is Batman not a Batman? And all of a sudden Nightwing just starts paying attention to the way Batman's fighting. And it's like, you know, your fighting style's different. And all of a sudden you find out it's Clayface that's pretending to be the Bat. And that's the answer. He goes, answer, Clayface. And sure enough, the next page you have the villains ready to take on Hush. And Hush goes, a friend to all is a friend to none. And right away, Bane's just ready to take exception. And he goes after, I think his name is Silence. I can't remember for some reason. And Hush comes off pretty strong pretty early on by taking out Bane, but using Silence to bring down Bane. And even Batman says, like, Hush will kill them all just to get to me. And once again, like, Hush goes, you know, Silence, end them. And Jason has guns out and he's ready to point to Batman, and Batman's trying to talk him out of this, being like, Jason, this is your chance. You'll have to trust me. They will sacrifice you as part of the game. And Jason's just not buying it and says, you're wrong about everything. And Batman's inner dialogue is like, I see the boy who wanted to be the hero. They see Jason as merely a pawn. And sure enough, Batman brings Jason down, pummels him, gives him a few shots, and then Batman says, you can be the hero. And sure enough, then Hush steps right in, breaks Batman right off, grabs him by the throat, and it's almost like he's got him in a sleeper hold. And he's like, you know, life is only meaningful when we strive for a goal. Mine was to show you what it was like to be me, Bruce. I had everything, but was still alone. Is that the game? That's what Batman was asking. And Batman's like, making me feel like what it was like to be Thomas Elliot. And then Batman goes, when all you ever wanted to be was Bruce Wayne. And Hush says, you think you know every single move. And this is where I love this is a big tie-in, but it's small, but it's a big part because Hush just gets a knife and stabs Batman right in the heart. Okay? Maybe not right in the heart, but right in the stomach. And it's a beautiful one-page panel. And this is what got me. Hush goes, I'm going to slice out your heart, just like I did to your beloved Catwoman. Oh, that's the beautiful tie-in that they do with Heart of Hush. easily one of my favorite Batman books of all time. And to be honest, I love that book. I even went on the Batman Book Club to talk about it. Highly underrated book, and something that, a story that everyone should be reading. So then all of a sudden you hear is, "You fool, what have you done?" And Talia comes in, and I think this is the first time we've seen her since the first issue, if I'm not mistaken, first or second issue. And Jason goes, stop, both of you. And Jason's got guns pointed right at Hush and Talia. And all you see, Talia takes out a gun, bam, shoots Hush right in the head. And talk about a twist. I was just like, oh, I was not expecting this. Especially because I know full well that we're getting a part 2, another 6 issues. Don't know when. From Jeph Loeb and Jim Lee. And it's going to be regarding Hush. So, but no, a bullet went right through Hush's head. Jason Todd, clearly pissed off. And Talia calls out Ubu to help out. And Ubu goes and takes out Silence and literally slices that guy right in the throat. And he is absolutely done for. Talia's telling Jason, stop firing. We're done with you. Ubu, get Batman to safety. So, sure enough, Talia and Ubu bring Batman and they throw him into the Lazarus pit. And Ubu's trying to talk Talia out of it, but she's just like, he's pretty much saying, like, your father would, and he just says, stop. Sorry, Talia says, stop. Like, my father's dead. He's long gone. Throw him into the Lazarus pit. And sure enough, Batman comes out and he's right back to being alive. And she says, live again, detective. Like, I hear those words and I immediately I feel like I'm dropped into the world of Batman the Animated Series. I hear Talia al Ghul. I hear, even for some reason, Ra's al Ghul's. I'm into that world. I'm fully immersed when I read these lines and I see the beautiful art by Jim Lee. And Batman's right back to where his chest is completely like just shown. His, I guess his body armor's off. And, Batman comes back to being alive and goes, what's happened to you? Or sorry, Talia goes, what's happened to you? And they cap off with a beautiful romantic moment of Batman kissing Talia. And it ends with a to be continued. And that's how we end the issue. And I'll be honest, I enjoyed it. I thought that there was a huge WTF moment, especially with killing off Hush. And is he really dead, though? That remains to be seen. But there is no doubt that Talia single-handedly took care of Hush and almost immediately and wasted no time. You look back at this book and it was just action-packed from start to finish. And, the one that really, it's hard to pick a favorite panel whenever it comes to Jim Lee. And there is quite a few. I do like something even as simple as, just having Batman where it has like that little title card and it just says Hush in the background and Batman's just looking up. But the one big one, and I think it's because it struck an emotion with me, is you have Hush and a knife going right through Batman's body, and you feel the emotions. I just said a lot, oh my God, and it brought me right back to Heart of Hush. And when I read, I'm gonna slice your heart out just like your beloved Catwoman, I'm like, oh God, that's my favorite part, and definitely the favorite panel. When it comes to, that piece of art just struck emotions and the lines, really. The other WTF moment was Silence. He was being silenced, right? Getting sliced right in the throat. And, what happens to Batman? The one question I'm going to have going forward is what happens to Batman now that he came out of the Lazarus pit? Is he going to be different? I mean, Talia did say, you know, what happened to you? So is he different? Like, I don't know. And then we have beautiful kiss between Batman and Talia, and that's how the story or part 1 ends. And we will find out where part 2 picks up, because, you know, this should be interesting. I mean, clearly Jeph Loeb and Jim Lee are wrapping up their version of the Batman and Hush storyline, and part 1 did not disappoint. I can't wait for this all to be collected. Who knows when part 2 will resume, but Jim Lee, if you do check his Instagram, did state that nothing will get released until he is done. So I assume he's got a project of, 6 issues, and whenever he completes them, they will be released, and they will be released on time. Gotta give the man a break, man. This guy's running a company and then illustrating with art like that. My God. Now, I got the cover A, but there are quite a few beauties, and there is one that's drawn, and I wish I got it, by Gary Frank and Brad Anderson. That is pretty sweet. Do I have another favorite? I'd say pretty much that one would be my favorite. There's one by Jorge Jimenez, but I wouldn't say that's my top. But there's no doubt Gary Frank that was my next favorite cover, and really enjoy it. I'm kind of curious what you guys got, what you thought about all 6 issues. I would grade this an A, to be honest. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. I thought that there was breadcrumbs left. There was a ton of action. You got what looks like the conclusion of Hush, and left my jaw dropped, and so curious as to what's happening next, where the story is going to go, because if it is the Hush storyline, Hush is going to come back, right? Like, he should be. That's our assumption. Now, overall, what's your take? Like, what do you guys think? Like, from start to finish, did you guys have an opinion about Hush 2? Positive or negative? I'm curious to hear your opinions about this, and I can read this on air. And speaking of reading stuff on air, I'm going to get into this, but I guess when we wrap up, I'll talk about ratings and reviews. But overall, I really did enjoy the storyline. The art was just absolute banger. And Jeph Loeb, once again, he just understands who Batman is. As I'm sure those of you reading, this feels like a vintage Batman book. And I can't wait for more, to be honest. I'm really enjoying it. And, the fact that we're still getting Jim Lee art, I feel blessed and spoiled all at once. And there is going to be zero complaining from me. And I'm glad that we're getting 6 more of this. So, with that being said, where can you find us? We're going to wrap this show up. Beyond the Bat Signal is the Instagram handle. Again, you can find all this in the show notes, and X/Twitter at Beyond Bad Signal. Ratings and reviews, please go on Apple or Spotify, leave a review, as it really does go a long way to help supporting the show. Now, there was a review by It's Abby 27, and I am assuming it's a she, left it 3 months ago. Oh my God, so sorry. Her review, the title is Straight Outta Gotham. I wonder if she listens to Pete's show. So if you love all things Batman, then this podcast is undoubtedly an essential listen. Domenic and Nika dives into the night duties and the lore of Gotham's very own Dark Knight, providing compelling conversations about psychology, symbolism, and our favorite superhero with nuances and depth. Smart and thoroughly engaging, as well as done by a very true fan who clearly understands Gotham City and its Cape Crusader. It's Abby 27. Thank you very much for that glowing review. Listen, you leave a review, I'll be happy to read it on air. And yeah, now with that being said, this is Beyond the Bat Signal. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for listening. We are signing off.